Good morning everybody, welcome back to my channel and to another baking video. And as you will have seen from the title of this video, we are going with a chai spiced carrot cake. Super warm, super autumnal, super snuggly kind of comfort spices. It's not actually autumn in Melbourne at the moment, it's meant to be going into spring, however it feels like autumn. It's freezing today. I have rugged up with joggers and a jumper, and the heating is on, but I also need like a warmy spice cake because I think that will just make the day way better. So yes, so as always, the quantities of the ingredients will be always in the description box below. And I'm kind of following suit from what I did in my last video last week, where it was all in one mixing bowl and not with the KitchenAid, because you guys seem to like that. So, and I think I take it for granted how many people do actually have a mixer. So I'm going to kind of follow suit on that and just do it all in one bowl again. This recipe is really easy. Basically, I'll go through it, but it's essentially a wet, a dry, bung it all together and then pop it in the oven. So I'm actually using Pana Organics Chai Masala drink blend, which they actually came out with this quite recently. It's quite a new product. If you can't get your hands on this chai masala here, I'm gonna leave a link, well, not leave a link, I'm gonna leave a link to this product, but I'm also going to leave the description of the ingredients. Blah, I can't get my words out today. Leave the ingredients of what's in this in the description box below, so you can kind of make your own. It's just that lovely, like spicy, warm, almost Christmassy kind of smell. Okay, if I can't speak today, this recipe is going to be quite challenging. Sorry in advance. I haven't had my coffee. It's actually only 7:10 in the morning, so it's kind of early to be making cake. Well, it's never too early to be making cake. Bakers are up at God knows what time, 3 AM to start baking. So, but I just couldn't sleep, so I thought I would make a cake. Anyway, enough blabbing, let's get on to the recipe. We need to preheat our ovens to 175 degrees Celsius, and whilst that's preheating, we can make our cake batter. Okay, so first things first, we have all of our dry ingredients. So I have here 240 grams of plain flour. To that, I'm also going to add 110 grams of white sugar and 110 grams of brown sugar. In that goes. And then additionally, I have our baking sodas and powders. So I have 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I have 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And then I have 1 teaspoon of baking soda. There we go, got it right that time. All right, so in that goes. Then I'm also going to add my lovely chai spiced mixture. So I've got 2 tablespoons of this going in here. And this will just give, did I say tablespoons? Teaspoons. This will give the mixture that lovely like warmth that we're wanting. Then we're just going to give this a good old mix through and just make sure everything is thoroughly combined. Now that all of our dry ingredients are all mixed in, we're going to crack 2 medium-sized eggs into 110 mils of oil. So I've just got vegetable oil here, very neutral flavoring. And then we're going to mix this all together until this is thoroughly mixed through, and then we can add it into our dry flours and dry mixture here. And then I've also got a little bit of my vanilla paste here that I'm just going to measure lovely with the heart, about 1 teaspoon there. Like so. And then can pour this straight into here. Make sure that all of that is scraped in. And then we just give this a nice mix through. And then as it's starting to clump together, we're just going to start to add in our buttermilk. So just a small bit at a time. Just going to slowly mix this through. And we might need to switch to this spatula because the whisk is sort of all got it all clumped in there. So add a bit more of the buttermilk. So we're going to add all of that in there and then mix until thoroughly combined. Now we don't want to overwork this batter, we just want to mix until it's just come together, because then we're going to add the carrots in as well. Looking pretty good. Now we can add our carrots in. Well, I've actually got 3 medium carrots, finely grated, that are going in to my mixture. And then we give that a good old stir until that's thoroughly combined. Be very careful to not over mix this. We just want it until all of that mixture is mixed through, the carrots are evenly dispersed. And that's looking pretty good to me. Okay, so we've got our loaf tin here. It's a 9 by 5 inch loaf tin. I've cut a little bit of baking sheet and I've just popped it in my loaf tin with a little excess, so that when the loaf is done, we can just pull it out as like little handles, so it just works a little bit easier. So that's a little tip for you. Lovely and filled to the top. Now we're going to pop this in the oven, in our preheated 175 degree oven, for 45 minutes until we can pop a cake skewer in, or a skewer in, and the cake comes out clean on the end of the skewer. Roughly 45 minutes. So we'll see you when our cake is all finished. So whilst our lovely carrot cake is cooking, it's a really good idea to start getting bits sorted for our icing. So in our cream cheese icing, we have a lovely brown butter. So I'm going to start on the brown butter now, and then that can then go into the fridge whilst the cake is cooling, so everything will be ready all at one time. So I have 150 grams of white, normal, unsalted butter, and then I'm just going to brown now by just popping it into a pan and letting it do its thing. I'll show you what I mean. Now it takes roughly around 10 minutes to create the burnt butter, so we're just going to leave this on a medium to high heat until all of that butter has lovely and melted. The milk solids have separated, becomes a little bit foamy, and then those milk solids sort of start to caramelize, and that creates that lovely nutty flavor that we're after in that burnt butter. And then once we're finished with that, we're going to then pour it into a glass container and pop it in the fridge to harden, and then we'll come back to it when we are ready. Hello guys, it is now about 2 hours later. My lovely carrot cake has come out of the oven and it is now completely cool. So it's time to make our delicious brown butter cinnamon cream cheese icing. So what we've done is, as you would have seen earlier, we had our brown butter already done and it's been in the fridge. Let's move you up so you can see me. So it's been in the fridge. I've just got it out and you can see it's, honestly, I wish there was smell-o-vision. It smells so good. But basically you've got the lovely brown butter, and then at the bottom all of the lovely milk solids that are lovely and caramelized at the bottom, and that's what gives it its like beautiful nutmeggy kind of nutty taste. It is honestly sensational. So what we're going to do is, now I did say a little porky pie at the beginning of this video and I lied to you all and I'm very sorry, but I said we're not going to need a mixer or a KitchenAid for this recipe. You aren't for the carrot cake, for the chai spiced carrot cake, but you are for the icing. So you can use a hand beater, you can use a KitchenAid, whatever mixer you've got, or you can use a spoon if you have a lot of muscle, but I would advise you not do that. Anyway, we're going to add our butter into our mixing bowl. So I have a total of 125 grams of brown butter. I started with 150 grams before I burnt it down. So I have lost a little bit of weight there from it being a normal block of butter to burnt butter, but we need 125 grams burnt butter. So in that goes, and then I'm just going to attach my paddle attachment and just give that a good old beat for roughly around 5 minutes until it comes up really lovely and whippy and nice and light and soft as well. So we'll see you in a bit. Alright, so that has been whipping up lovely and it's now nice and light and almost like smooth. I've given the bowl a scrape down, but I'm going to give it one more scrape down before I add in my cream cheese. So as I was saying before, like you saw what it looked like before and now it's like lovely and whipped and exactly what you want. It honestly smells delicious. So make sure all of the sides of your bowl are completely scraped down and you've got none of that harder butter on any of the sides. And then we're going to add our cream cheese. So it is important to make sure that the temperature of the butter and the temperature of the cream cheese are the same temperature. So for both of mine, I got them straight out of the fridge. I would recommend keeping them at room temperature for roughly around 2 hours prior to kneading them, just so it's a little bit easier for your beater and your or your arms, if you're using them, to completely beat the mixture together. Obviously the harder the butter is, the harder it is to beat up. So I would recommend leaving it out for roughly around 2 hours at room temperature, so that they're the same temperature. So we have one whole block of cream cheese, which is 225 grams, that is just going straight into the butter mixture, just like so. And then we're going to pop that back under the beater, under the KitchenAid, and give that a whip up for roughly around 2 minutes, just until everything has sort of come together and it's all lovely and combined. So that's looking good to me. It is nice and combined, and it's now time to add our icing sugar. So I have 3 cups of icing sugar here, as well as a 1/4 teaspoon of salt that I'm going to add straight in. Like so. And then I'm also going to add in a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Now this will just enhance that chai flavor in the carrot cake without it overpowering any of the burnt butter taste as well. So I'm going to add that in, and then I'm going to beat it on very, very slow. As always, when adding icing sugar or any dry mixture into a KitchenAid or into a beater, you don't want to whack it on high straight away, because as soon as you do that, you will get a cloud of whatever dry dust you've just popped in there. So we're going to start on low until it has pretty much come together, and then we're going to whip it up on high for roughly around 3 minutes. Alright, so that's had like 2-3 minutes, and it is lovely and whipped up and lovely and soft and all combined. But we're not done there. So I want my cream cheese to be lovely and loose and not too hard. So I'm going to add in 2 to 3 tablespoons of milk. Now I only have almond milk on hand, but I would recommend using a plain milk, just a normal cow milk. So I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons to start, and just into the bowl, not necessarily out of the bowl. and just see how that holds. We want it to be loose so that we can pipe it, but we don't want it to be super sloppy. So just be mindful there. I'd start at 2 and then you can always add in more. And then we'll beat that again for another 3 minutes. Alrighty, that is looking exactly how we want it to look. It's lovely and loose. It smells incredible. This is probably one of my favorite cream cheese icings to put on top of a cake, because the burnt butter just really adds that depth of flavor and just adds to it. It's just so, so yummy. So I want to show you the texture and how sort of smooth and almost like gelato-y it is. So it's super, super sort of like stringy. It's delicious. So I'm happy with that consistency now. I'm just going to scrape down the sides of the bowl, make sure everything is thoroughly mixed through, and then we can start to pop it into a piping bag and get ready for decorating the cake. Okay, so to decorate my carrot cake, I am using a piping bag, and I've also got a flat tip nozzle here. I'll show you that. Like that, and it's got like a jaggedy edge. It's not focusing, sorry. Come on, buddy. There we go. A little jaggedy edge, as you can see on the edge of there. So it is a Loyal 1D piping nozzle. And I'm just going to pop that into my piping bag and snip the end off. Just enough so that the piping nozzle can fit through, like so. And then we're going to fill up the piping bag with all of the lovely cream cheese icing. You won't need all of this. This amount of icing will probably, I'd say you probably only need maybe half of it, maybe 3/4 if you were to go handy, like really put a lot on the cake. It's really up to you. I find because it's such a sweet icing, you don't need much. So you can always just pop the leftovers in the fridge until you're ready to use it for another cake. Otherwise, pop it in the freezer until you next bake. I put a lot of my icings in the freezer just because they last a bit longer. You want to keep them in the freezer for no more than sort of 3 months. And then when you're ready to bake the next cake, you can just use that and you don't have to make any more. So it's super, super handy. Okay, so I've got all my icing in my piping bag. I'll just grab my cake and then we can get ready to decorate. So I have my lovely carrot cake here. It's nice and cool to touch, which is exactly what we want when we're doing any decorating. And what my plan is here is to basically just do an S the whole way, all the way across. I'm not sure how this is going to go because I haven't done this technique before, but we'll see. Yeah, pretty happy with that. And you can see all of the nice little specks inside as well. So yeah, quite cute from the little burnt batter. Is the finished cake, guys. And like I still have like what, half of my piping bag still full, and then I still have quite a bit of mixture in my mixing bowl. There she is in all her shining glory. Very sort of like what's that ice cream dessert, Veneta? Very that kind of style. Very, very different. All right, here she is. Honestly, it looks so, so yummy. And like, you don't have to pipe it this way. This is just something I wanted to try, something new. I haven't done this before. I've seen it on quite a lot of freehand, so I thought I'd treat this as like a giant freehand. But you've got all of the texture and all of like, I don't know whether you can see, but the little speckles of the burnt butter Just looks really, really yummy. So without further ado, I think it's time to cut it and see what's in the, I know what's in the center, but to taste it essentially. Oh, it's lovely and soft. Oh, yum. Guys, this is a bloody delicious cake. The sponge, like the actual cake, is so moist and so bouncy. Let me see if I can show you. I need to get it to not focus on me. There we go. Like, do you see that? It's so moist and bouncy. Delicious. And it tastes so yummy, and it's not super chai-y like I thought it would be. Quite intense with two teaspoons, but it's just like that subtle hit at the end, and it's so yummy. It pairs really well with the brown butter icing, so I highly recommend this recipe. Delicious, warm, a little bit spicy. It's like an internal hug. It tastes delicious. Anyway, let's sip that down. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's recipe video. It was a slightly different one. A bit more autumnal vibes, even though we're going into spring. However, since this morning the day has brightened up, the sun has come out and there's not a cloud in the sky. So I hope you enjoyed this week's recipe video. Please let me know in the comments below if you did. All feedback is welcome. Obviously really want to create a lovely, kind community, so please be kind. And if there is any other videos you would like to see, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll be sure to check them out and see what I can do. But in the meantime, I shall see you next week. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, because obviously your support means a lot, and we shall see you next week. Bye guys.